Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala barakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala syarafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, in the previous video we have explained to you the two key concepts in terms of change through directed positive influence and harnessing people's power. That means the power of the citizen in the 21st century to act upon to change the situation in this world, and how we can go forward to then develop an ummah, a humanity that is well balanced and just based on truth. So today's topic is still on chapter 4, alright, of this book, the fourth principles of positive Islamic psychology, principles of holistic human behavior and laws of learning. So I'm going to read the subtopic today, keys to knowledge and truth, and then I'll explain to you. Alright, the positive Islamic psychology plan is to spread the knowledge of this book to the 1.7 billion Muslims as well as other non-Muslims around the globe. Of course, there are many reasons to make the spread of this knowledge throughout the world much easier than it may be first appear. Many of these truths are already widely known and accepted. That means this truth about the problems of the ecology of the world, the environmental problem, the disintegration of the social structure, the meaningless in life, the problems of psychological problems from depression to anxiety to all the whole spectrum of human behavior. It's not holistic. So we have this model of holistic human behavior, and this is known by Muslims and non-Muslims, whether they are Buddhists, Hindu, Christians, whether they are atheists. They know, those who are sincere, they know that this knowledge, this world will have to change based on new knowledge. Many people are searching for the truth. Many people are searching for an answer to the varied problem facing human society today. So this is a last moment in terms of our human society. Either we make it or we break it. That means this 100 years would be either we develop a holistic human society based on love, peace, justice, and caring, or we disintegrate into maybe self-destructive elements within ourselves, and wallahu alam, whether any humanity will exist within the next 100 years. If we don't almost immediately find a solution to the aspects of the world's social problem which threaten to bring an end to life on this planet, we will have no future. The time has come when this knowledge will naturally unfold as part of the overall developmental process of our material existence. So we have lived in a physical world. We have now advanced knowledge in terms of, for example, the physiology of the human being. We have the advanced knowledge, even though it's just touching, but so-called quite a good knowledge of our neurological function, the function of the brain, but we are still not holistic. So what we need to do is to find a holistic solution. The knowledge of truth does not exist as separate from human society. This knowledge is part of the human society. So when we bring about this idea of human beings having the spiritual, emotional, mental and physical realms or domains in which we have to enhance and find a balance so that our life will be full of meaning, our existence will be part of the whole unfolding grandeur of the Creator, where He selected us to be His slave, His servant, His Khalifa on this earth, and He gave us the foundational truth, alright, of being the Khalifa of Allah on this earth, and also the foundational truth to seek knowledge, to enhance our life based on love, justice, peace, and so on. It is the nature of this knowledge to be the means of its own dissemination. Truth is like a seed which once planted in the mind of individuals germinates, spreading its roots through the society body of the human race and flowering in the collective consciousness of humanity. So we are trying to move forward to the full flowering of human consciousness. And I've explained to you the nature of our consciousness in many of my earlier videos. Inshallah, you have this idea that our consciousness is part and parcel of what is imbued to us from our spiritual nature. From the beginning of our covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the realm of Alastu Rabbikum, where He asks us, am I not your Lord? And we say yes, we acknowledge. So from there we have this inner sense of connectedness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our Creator God. And this inner connectedness is manifested through our life in terms of our love for Allah, in terms of our ibadah, in terms of the good works that we do. Everything that we do always goes back to the wonderful nature of the absoluteness of our Creator. So our consciousness at that level is always thinking about this existential question of our connection to God. But we are veiled by materialism. So we have this veil of materialism, veil of hedonistic desire, veil of so many veils that we have. That's why the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says in his hadith, we are veiled from Allah with 72,000 veils. So much of this distance between us and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which we have to find. So the basis of the keys to knowledge and truth is a holistic human behavior based on the understanding of our true nature. And that is a journey that every one of us have to go through. I have to find and search my meaning in life. What is my purpose, my meaning in life? Because that is the very question of our very existence. So you will have to find your answer, your direction. But Allah gives us the broad overview in the Al-Quranul Kareem, in the Sunnah of the Prophet, in his revelation, whether the previous revelation that is given to Jesus or Moses or to Buddha or whoever else, because Allah has sent a lot of prophets. So what is important is for us to have what? The full flowering of the collective consciousness of humanity. That is our purpose. That means is every one of us, the 1.7 billion Muslims, can act according to the nature of goodness within our consciousness and our connectedness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can be an exemplary ummah that can influence the direction of this civilization, because we know if we don't change this direction, we are heading to a very severe disaster not far off, maybe 30, 40 years from now. So it is this nature. That's why when we write about this book, we are talking about this idea. So what are the very nature that we are talking about? As stated before, the psychology is often defined as the study of the mind, the study of human nature, or the study of behavior. These definitions are quite inclusive and I'll find them acceptable. But I consider psychology to be the study of relationship of consciousness with the physical universe. That means our existence in the physical universe vis-a-vis our spirituality, our heart, our akal, which is supra-conscious, beyond the normal consciousness of our physical realm. How are they connected? And if they are connected, what are the mechanisms for us to find this beautiful connection so that we can have connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So the psychology from the perspective positive Islamic psychology is what? The study of relationship of consciousness with the physical universe. All words are but names we assign to various aspects of our relationship with existence. Psychology happens to be a word that covers a large segment of that relationship. It is this particular knowledge that will allow free will to be manifested to a degree that will never before possible. So Allah has given us His free will. Now we can manifest our free will far more because of social media, because of the capability within the 21st century, our human capacity in terms of knowledge, the body of knowledge that is expanding exponentially. We have more capability now to express our free will. But unfortunately, the expression of this free will has degenerated to become more of physical types of existence. So that's why now we have this whole idea of consumerism. Consume, consume, consume. Where does it end? All right? We have this whole idea of just have hedonistic relationship. Do whatever you want, have sex with anybody and everybody, including now robots. They're having sex with robots now. Where do we end? So we are expressing our free will in the downward animalistic kind of existence, which is very sad. So we have to express our free will on the upward full flowering of our consciousness and our connectedness to the beauty of nature, to the beauty of our Creator, because Allah tells us to look at the whole universe and how the expression of the absolute will on this whole universe, and look into ourselves so that we can discover God. So what is this new knowledge The knowledge of this new psychology allows us to understand the varied influence which affect our thinking, our behavior, and our overall development as unique individuals. While the range of influences is virtually infinite, they all fall into a small number of categories, and all of these influences act lawfully. In other words, the effect of these varied influences upon our development can all be described as a set of laws. So we understand the laws of learning, which we will get into it, then we can understand why we are acting either positively or negatively, and I have given you some idea of how we perceive actions in terms of change strategies and how holistic human behavior is affected by the negative destructive approach or the positive approach to positive psychology. Yeah? In other words, the effect of these very influences upon our development can all be described as a set of laws. However, I couldn't say these laws are simple, but many of them, although having been given unfamiliar names, in psychology we used to use a lot of professional terminologies, we will try to simplify that. Unfamiliar names would be familiar when we explain it by example. Indeed, by understanding several of the categories of the influence and a set of laws of learning, we can overcome the problem of society. So our goal is to help the society, starting with the Ummah and ending with the 21st century and 22nd century civilization. So this is the words of Professor John Jenkins, Professor Mahdi Jenkins. He wrote this before he even became a Muslim in his trilogy, The Unified Theory of Existence. So what does he say about himself now? This is Professor Jenkins saying, I came from a staunch atheistic behavioral psychology background. He was a protege of B.F. Skinner, the father of modern behavioral psychology. I was a keen student of B.F. Skinner. In fact, I was told I was his protege. All right? As an atheist, I used to tell my students in universities that if there is any human being that can believe in God, I'll be the last person on earth. Imagine. This young man, John Jenkins, says, if anybody is going to believe in God, I'll be the last person standing on earth. And what did Allah do? Allah turned him 360 degrees. He lived as a Muslim and died as a Muslim, contributing to the Ummah in the development of the sets of laws of learning, in the development of the Khalifa method, Khalifa approach, and the manuscript that you see right now, this post-Islamic psychology, the transcendent model to achieve peace, happiness, and success in the 21st century. It is only after I did further research on the nature of consciousness and the loss of human learning that I realized that we are not just mere physical beings. So we are not just physical existence. My earlier background in nuclear physics, supported by Einstein's theory of special relativity, brought me closer to an understanding of the true nature of this created universe. Later on, my understanding of quantum physics brought me towards the belief in God. So from there he searched, and Alhamdulillah, he set up the Khalifa Institute, the Khalifa schools, all right, and he passed on in 2006, Professor Muhammad Mahdi Jenkins, may Allah be pleased with him and shower him with the best of Jannah. And I'm his close friend and student, so now it is my role to just explain to you how this idea of the fourth law of our book, the fourth principle of our book, on holistic human behavior, and how this relates to the various subtopics that I'm going to explain from time to time until we complete this whole chapter 4, and by then you'll have a good idea of the understanding of positive Islamic psychology, a transcendent model to achieve peace, happiness, success in the 21st century, inshallah.